Okay, so here we got athlete Ian Holm, JUCO guy up to 97. Dude throws really, really hard. Did battle with some back problems during this past spring, but we'll get into kind of why. And came to me, really trying to, I guess, figure out what happened, what he was doing wrong while he was gone, and I'm gonna kind of show y'all what I think is the cause of it, and we're gonna break down his mechanics and I'm gonna show y'all what he does right, what he does wrong. I mean, those 97 has to do a lot of things right. So we're gonna just kind of break that down and see what we need to work on. Okay. So starting from the top, I want to look at that initial move. Okay. For those of y'all who work with me, you know that I really, really, really emphasize that initial move, getting that momentum, the drift piece of the delivery, which is what we'll see right here, okay? Now, we're seeing that drift, right? I go by peak leg lift. How much ground have we gained off of peak leg lift, right? Here's the one thing that I'm noticing that kind of is just jumping out at me is we'll see his head starts right here. Okay, we go into it, peak leg lift when the drift is closed. Okay, now he's starting to drop. So this is the end of his drift phase. And we've seen more of a move this way rather than a linear move. I would rather see that head be somewhere around here. Not even have to be that far, honestly. It could be something like that. His head I want to see in that circle, okay? Instead, we're kind of going down, which is not the linear move we want. So as far as ground gained, we're not gaining much ground. We're not starting our acceleration phase very efficiently. We are, but not very efficiently, mind you. Grading a guy like Ian, I'm grading him on a very, very particular scale, okay? I'm grading him on what I would grade a big league guy because he does have a big league arm. I mean, 97 is 97 at the end of the day, okay? So being very, very nitpicky here, and I'll show you kind of a reason why, is because when we go down and not linear, okay, just gonna draw a line right through his back shoulder here, okay, and we will see from peak leg lift, have we really gained much ground? No, not at all, okay? Which means that our center of mass really hasn't gained much ground, okay? Your center of mass is gonna be the entirety of your body, basically, your torso, okay? So even if I were to draw a line straight down the middle of him, his center of mass right here, we will see that from peak leg lift, that center of mass hasn't really moved. It's more just tilted, okay? So he's thinking he's gaining ground. He's getting this false conception that he's actually moving down the mound on that leg kick. It's really just the backside. So his legs and his butt are moving down towards the catcher. But the problem is we need to move that center of mass down the mound. That's really our accelerator, right? Because we go into our drop phase after our momentum. After the drift, we go into the drop. Now that drop phase is our true accelerator. This is just getting us started, okay? Like a car, this is first gear. That drop is kicking into fourth or fifth. okay? And now we're going to really see how that drop plays out from this false move forward, okay? Because now we're going to go into the dropping phase right here, and we can see that it's not any faster. Even if I were to play it in fast motion, we'll see that it's probably going to be about the same speed throughout. See, it doesn't really speed up. Now, see, the thing is when we hit that drop phase, we should speed up significantly. It should be noticeable. Even in slow motion, it should be like, oh shoot, now he's taking off. Okay? That's our big problem. And it stems from that false move on the momentum piece, but getting into the drop, we are loading into our heel really, really well. So those of y'all who I've worked with and we've really hammered down on the drop, you'll know that I tell y'all, a lot of y'all will try to drop over your toe, and you'll see that knee start to leak forward like that. That knee will leak over the toe. You can see even from the side here that he is loading into the heel. Okay, he's loading into the back side of his foot. You'll see it looks like his butt is dropping down and not his knee. Okay? Just look, you'll see it. When I play it in motion, you'll see that his butt is dropping down and not that knee dropping down. Okay? So that's a good piecing of the drop. Now the problem is that we have nothing to drop off of. We need to shift that center of mass down the mound. That way when we drop, boom, we're accelerating through the zone. Okay? So the loading phase, the loading pattern, which is the drift and the drop, the loading pattern is really like what is hurting us right now. That's what Ian really, really needs to work on, is that loading pattern. Because I know Ian, I know his unload is really, really good. Like, we'll see it right here. For the most part, his unload is really, really good. Okay, this is that foot landing. We'll see that the hip, front of the hip is right there, okay? That hip is turned almost fully towards the plate by the time the foot finally lands. Okay? We'll also see that his shoulder is still back here, okay? So if I were to draw a line from his eyes to his knee, we'll see that that hip is significantly in front of his shoulder. Like, significantly. That is why he throws so hard whenever he gets that loading pattern right too, because he creates so much separation. So because he's creating all that separation, all that tension is built right here in his core. So he's using, right now, because he's creating so much separation, using his core, his hips, back here, these muscles. He's using his hamstrings. He's even using his chest because of how much separation he gets. Okay, now you'll see we're using all of these muscles right here, right? The problem is a lot of people, because they neglect to actually work on their body, they'll end up using this muscle, that. Okay? So instead of using this big muscle, this big muscle, this big muscle, this big muscle, people will use instead these little muscles right there. okay? And that's why a lot of people hurt their arm. Ian hurts his back because he's using his body really well, okay? The guys who use their body really well, when they do get hurt, you'll see them get hurt either in the knee, the hip, the hamstring, the back. All things that don't require surgery, that don't require you to be out of baseball for a very long time. Now, you hurt this thing, that's 14 months. You hurt this thing, that's 18 months, okay? So this is super important as to why he's able to be really healthy in his arm, okay? Now, mind you, he's coming off of a back injury, but this is why, okay? I'll show you. So Ian creates a ridiculous amount of separation. So we can see that that hip is fully pointed towards the plate, right? And look at how far back that shoulder still is, okay? Again, if we were to draw a line from his eyes to his knee, okay, that shoulder is still significantly farther back, okay? Really, really good because he's now creating that tension and he's holding that tension for so long that that's got to unload all at once, right? It's got to unload. So he's going to throw the baseball really hard, but the thing is because we had such a poor loading pattern, we're having to hold it for longer than we need to, okay? So, mind you, if he's holding this exact position, but he's not moving fast down the mound, as far as like a timer is concerned, he's holding this position longer. Now, if he were to gain that ground on that leg kick, drop fast and accelerate, he's holding this position, which is the same exact elite position. So as far as like he's holding that duration of his body, so from by the time his hip clears fully, his arm is still going to be in the same exact spot. It's just now, as far as a timer's concerned, he's not having to hold it for as long. It's less stress on those joints, right? So this is what is probably the cause of his back strain, is because he creates so much separation. He's having so much torque on his body right now. He's holding it for so long, it's just going to cause a lot of stress on our joints and our back. Okay? Think of it like if you're going to do squats, right? And you're going to try to hit your max on your squat, are you going to try to sit at the bottom of your squat for 3 seconds before you go up? No, right? You're going to try to, as soon as you hit it, you're going straight up, okay? Because if you were to hold it for 3 seconds, you're not going to get it as near as much as you would if you were to just go boom, straight up. It's the same exact thing, okay? So that stress on your muscles when you're squatting is the same thing as the stress on your muscles or the stress on your joints while you're pitching, okay? So since he's having to hold it for a longer time period, now he's causing a lot of stress on his spine that he doesn't need to have if he were to just accelerate through the zone a lot faster, okay? Okay, so we've gone over the drift, we've gone over the drop, we've gone over the rotation phase. Now we've gone over the separation phase too. Let's go over the extension phase, okay? Now this is something that Ian has really struggled on in the past. And he did correct a lot of it, and he still struggles on it to this day in bullpens. He kind of has a little bit less of a problem with it in games. So I'm not going to be too hard on it in here because I know how his body moves in game in comparison to bullpen. But we can see here, this is fine at landing, okay? Now the thing is, once we come over our body, I want to see that leg lock out, okay? It doesn't have to fully lock out, right? But it has to, I want to see that leg extend in, okay? The problem is with Ian, from our past experiences together, he will actually do the opposite. Okay, so Ian will actually kind of fold. Okay, that's losing a lot of that accelerating. Okay, that's losing a lot of momentum, a lot of force that you've already created. You're losing a lot of it by bending in your knee. Think of it like you're gonna buy, we talk about the car references, so first, fourth, fifth gear, right? So you're not gonna buy a supercar with bad brakes, okay? So if Ian was a Lamborghini, right now we would be looking for Lamborghini quality brakes. Now, Ian has had a problem where he's had a Lamborghini, but he's had the brakes of a 1950 Oldsmobile, okay? So he will accelerate really fast and then he'll have really bad brakes. So we need to stop on a dime. That's the thing. Okay? So let's look at it as we go through our delivery. Yeah, we'll see it. That knee angle goes out and he's actually absorbing a lot. Okay? Like I said, I want to see that knee lock in. Okay? I want to see that knee lock in here. So we're absorbing a lot of that force that we've created and we're not able to apply it to the baseball. So right now, that's really what's killing us is our acceleration, our loading pattern is really hurting us right now. Literally, it's hurting it's causing us to put unneeded stress on our joints. And then velocity-wise, that lead leg block, we need to really be able to lock that thing out, okay? Like I said, it doesn't have to get fully locked, okay? So if we're like this at landing, I just want to see this. I just want to see a move in, okay? The problem is we're like this at landing and we're caving. So I want to see us land and lock out over, okay? I personally do not fully lock out like a guy like Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander almost hyperextends his front leg, okay? You don't need to have that, okay? It just needs to lock in. Now, you don't want to think about this, okay? So this is another thing that really frustrates me with pitching coaches is they'll think about that. They'll be like, okay, push backwards. No, you don't push backwards, okay? I'm going to show you how this happens. So we'll look at this hip turning, okay? Look, that hip keeps turning, but it stops, right? Now the thing is that hip could go a little bit further, okay? See, that hip stops turning just over 90, okay? Now mind you, I know Ian, he's a very flexible guy. So if he was really tight, that would probably be max capacity for his hips to turn. So if this is your front leg, right, you want to keep turning your hip against your front leg. Now, if you keep turning until it feels like your back hip is going into your lead leg quad, there is literally no possible way that you can bend your leg without it hurting you, okay? So if you are to keep turning that back hip even further. See, we kind of stop right there. I want to see it turn even further into our quad, okay? Keep turning that hip. You'll notice when you do this, your front leg will extend without thinking about it, okay? Because your hips are turning, okay? They're creating torque. What happens if I were to have a rubber band with slack on this hand and a rubber band with slack on this hand, and I were to just keep turning them, it would pull the band, right? Creating that tension. It's the same thing. Your hips have slack in your legs right now. You keep turning them, okay? And then it pulls the tension, AKA it extends the front leg, okay? This is super important. I don't want you to ever think about, oh, I got to push backwards. No. Worst thing you could do is push backwards. It comes from the rotational part of our body, okay? Which you rotate really well, and you rotate really well. So this should be a really easy adjustment for you. And I'm sure that you haven't really been told that consistently with your lead leg block over the season, because there's such a misconception nowadays that it comes from pushing backwards. It's not pushing backwards at all. It's literally keeping on turning until you can't anymore. Okay? Now, okay, so here's Camilo Duvall. He was what I would say your big league comp is mechanically. Obviously, he's a little bit bigger than you. He's probably got about 30 pounds on you, but he also, mind you, throws 100, 304. He's not a 95, 97 guy. So that being said, if Camilo Duvall was your size, he might throw 95, 97. If you were to get up to that, you might be 100, 304. Okay, but as far as the big arm action, the tons of torque, this is who I think is your best comp and who you should look at for mechanical stuff. Okay? So we'll go into Camilo and we'll break it down the same way, obviously not as detailed, but we'll see from the start of his leg kick right here. Go ahead and zoom in on it. We'll see that head. Let's get a better one. Shoot. Okay, we'll see his head there. And we'll see that right here to peak leg lift, right here, that head is moved forward. Now, dude, literally, like I said, it is not super significant, okay? At all. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Here, I'll even do the line so we can see it even better. Okay. This is the back of his head. Now we'll see. To peak leg lift. Right here. That head has gone forward from the line. Okay. We'll exaggerate it and we'll look at it even deeper into detail. And we'll go through the center of mass. And we'll see the center of mass and see how it shifts. Or, hold up. Because he has kind of a rock back before he picks his leg up. So right here. Or center of mass, okay? And now we'll see that center of mass at peak leg lift right here has shifted from there to there. Everything has gone forward. He has that tilt that you do, except your tilt will go to it. This is your starting point. Right here. Your peak point right there. Okay. Look at your tilt. Okay, look at his tilt. Okay, see this? Your tilt hasn't crossed that line yet. His tilt has crossed that line. So from the starting point, his tilt is this. Your tilt is still diagonal. That's why he has that lean back. Like I said, he's a comp, bro. He's a comp. He has that lean backwards, but he's gained ground from that lean backwards. Okay. Now we'll go into the drop. Okay, this is his, dude, he's freaking right here, bro. He's accelerating big time, bro. You can see it. Slow, and then boom. Dude, he's speeding up big time. Downwards. It's not full one motion. Okay? Getting into this drop right here, bro. This is when he hits his max drop. Your max drop, you don't get any lower after this point. Check that. Dude, just look. Okay? Again, big arm action, look. Very comparable. It's just his leg is like there. So he's holding it longer. But that's because he's gained ground. Dude, literally, bro, literally, if I were to angle the two of y'all, okay, 123 degrees. Now, mind you, it's also at a slightly different camera angle. Okay. Bro, look at the problem here. 123 degrees, 74. Because you camped out over your backside, you weren't able to get that far down the mound, bro. You weren't. Look at him. Look at how far down the mound he is because he gained that ground. Dude, that's why this is so important. So important. Okay, now we'll go into the rotation. Okay, that foot has fully landed. Your foot has fully landed. Here. Okay? Again. Look at this. Hips going forward. Hips going forward. Arm still back. Arm still back. Dude, money. Right here, the hip is fully cleared. Hips fully cleared. Arm still back behind him. Arm is still back behind him. Let's go to you. Right here, hip still fully cleared. Right there. Arm is still back behind you. Dude, very comparable, bro. Very comparable. Now, let's get into the separator of the two of y'all. Mind you, this is, again, from the momentum. Landing. Right there. goes through. Leg locks out. Look at that. Leg locks out. We've already seen. Do it again. Just for reference here. Knee gives, bends. His locks, yours bends. Okay. Now, this is the biggest thing, Ian. Okay, this is what I'm going to leave you with. Really work on that momentum just on the leg kick, and then we'll look at what happens from there, because I don't want to fix too many problems down the mound. For all we know, bro, we could get into all of these positions that he gets into, all of these positions, just by fixing our leg kick. Okay, just by fixing our momentum, we could be so much more better down the mound. So for you, just really, really work on that momentum piece and gaining forward ground, not just downward. So it's a linear move, not a vertical move, okay? That's all I need you to work on, and that's it, okay? I hope you watch it. I hope you enjoy this video. You can watch it over as many times as you want, so you can really see what I'm talking about. And yeah, just work on it every day. I know you're gonna work on it every day, but really piece together that, making that linear move, okay? Make that move linear on the leg kick, so that way when you go down through the mound, gas again, okay? All right, bro.